Hey everyone, welcome to AstroTalk and Tea. My name's Kelsey, and today we're here to talk about Aries season 2021. So Aries season begins on March 20th and will run through April 19th of 2021. So starting off with just some general characteristics of, what is Aries energy? Aries is the first sign of the astrological zodiac, and it's a fire sign. So the qualities that you might think of when you think of the word fire, there are some similarities with Aries energy. This energy is very courageous. Aries is often known as the warrior of the zodiac. It's very energetic, it's fiery, it's passionate, it's competitive, and Aries energy is very instinctual. Aries energy, they are definitely risk takers. They get bored easily. So they need a lot of external stimuli. They need things that are new and fresh and that feel exciting. They love to start and initiate things. Aries energy is also a little bit impulsive. And Aries energy is very quick. So whether that's they can move their body very quickly, like in an athletic type of situation, or their mind moves quickly, or they speak very quickly. A lot of times you might see that characteristic in people with strong Aries energy. And in addition, Aries is who they are, and they're very unapologetic about that. Aries energy, I'd like to think of this as Aries being the creators of their own destiny. They're very, very adventurous. They're very experiential. Aries energy is very much about the bottom line, and I would say they tend to be much more big picture thinkers versus kind of minutia or detail oriented. Also, Aries energy is playful. It can be kind of kid or childlike in a way. Aries energy sometimes can be social, and it's very much about fun, like going out into the world and experiencing and living life and having fun. Sometimes Aries energy can get a bad rap for being selfish, but astrologer Amy Herring actually makes a really great distinction here. She talks about Aries energy isn't selfish. Aries energy is self-oriented, and kind of how she distinguishes that is, she says typically Aries energy is no more or less self-oriented than other signs of the zodiac. It's just the fact that Aries is very open and honest about the fact that they are self-oriented, self-focused. And so, I think that just kind of speaks to their desire nature, their passion, their energy. Now, what does it look like if Aries energy is out of balance? I would say the first instance in which that comes up often is the fire element being out of balance and maybe someone not being able to properly channel that. So sometimes that could show up as overly aggressive energy or dominant energy, someone who's always spoiling for a fight or, wants to win all the time or win at all costs. And so I think bringing that back into balance would be kind of recognizing that, you don't always have to win. There's equal value in learning how to lose, learning from experience, learning from mistakes, and also value in learning how to compromise and collaborate with others. And I think kind of also it's really important for Aries to have a very physical outlet for all the energy that they have. So whether that's through exercise or other types of projects that they're very intensely involved in, that's good to bring that Aries energy back into balance as well. And then secondarily, I think sometimes when Aries energy is self-focused to the point of detriment, that can be this idea of I'm just going to go it alone. But to balance that out, I think Aries energy needs to realize that working with others, learning from others, sharing with others can be really valuable and can sometimes help Aries energy get even closer to achieving their goals than they would be if they just did everything by themselves. Now, looking at this season, March 20th through April 19th, what can we all be doing during this time? The first thing I would say is to get moving. So if you're like me and you've exercised probably on average 1 time per week for the last several months, it would be great to, you know, get outside and go walking more. Maybe you have a set of weights at home and you can start doing some exercises, you know, turn on YouTube and find some videos, get back to a gym if that feels right for you right now. I just think it's important to get the body moving, to work up a little bit of a sweat, but also just honor your body in that process. You know, if it's been a while since you did any exercise, probably don't jump right into a 30-minute HIIT class on YouTube. You know, take some slow steps to help kind of ramp yourself back up. The second great thing to do during Aries season is to initiate anything and everything that you've been waiting to do. So in last month's video, Pisces season, I talked about how that was a period of time for daydreaming and imagining and coming up with ideas and just being creative in all ways. And now is the time to really take action on any of those things that you do want to manifest or bring, you know, forward and bring to fruition. The third thing we can all be doing during this time is to be competitive in a positive way. So what I mean by that is finding an appropriate outlet for competition. So if you are a sports person, you know, maybe sign up for a rec league. Let's say you're really into video games, like could you and some friends create some sort of competition in that arena? If you're really into board games, you should organize a game night with, you know, a family member or a friend. Let's say you're really into working out, you know, maybe you could do a 10-day challenge or 30-day challenge or something along those lines. Just something that kind of sparks that healthy competition. In terms of healing modalities for this season, we'll talk about herbs first. So I've highlighted 3 different herbs, the first of which is peppermint, great to have as a tea. And the reason being is that peppermint really helps to cool down. So if you are someone who has a lot of that fiery energy within your personality, peppermint can help to soothe that. Also, peppermint's really good for helping to relieve headaches, and Aries actually rules the head. When we think about the body and how it corresponds to astrology, Aries is here. So Aries people can be prone to a lot of headaches, feeling like there's a lot of heat in their face, sometimes head injuries, those types of things. So peppermint can be great for that. Yarrow is another herb that's really cooling, and it also helps to kind of purify the blood. And then basil and rosemary are both wonderful herbs that will help with pain relief, and they can be really helpful, you know, with headaches as well. So basil and rosemary, yarrow, and peppermint would be great for this season. In terms of stones or crystals, if you'd like to work with those, the first one I've highlighted is carnelian. And I've highlighted that because it kind of has this like energy of creativity and vitality and motivation, passion behind it. So if you're needing to cultivate those qualities in your life at this time, carnelian's a good stone to work with. Additionally, red jasper, when we think about, you know, energy and freshness, and also like the energy to see things through. Sometimes, you know, when you're really excited about starting a project, you've got a bunch of energy right at the beginning, but then to keep going with it a little bit further, sometimes we sort of lose the impetus for that. So red jasper can help you to really carry things through. When we look at yoga and breath practices, for breath practices, I'm going to recommend, if you're someone who needs to cultivate a little bit more fire, you know, breath of fire would be a great one to work with this season, as would Bastrika breath. And then if you need to cool down, Sitali breathing is really nice for that. In terms of your yoga practices, I think it would be advantageous to be a little bit more active here. So maybe it's engaging in, you know, flowing through poses, linking them together. Maybe it's practicing yoga in a heated space. Maybe it's working with yoga poses that really have a strengthening element to them. But also during this season, again, kind of that reminder to, you know, Aries can be very accident prone and sometimes they just dive into things without really thinking through them. So just make sure that whatever you're doing, you know, you're practicing in a safe and mindful way. And then lastly, for meditations this season, I'm just going to recommend that you make your meditations active. So you could do a walking meditation, or I also think Tai Chi, even though it's not super active, there is some movement there as you're kind of in that meditative state. So both of those could be great options. Looking ahead to the astrology of this Aries season as a whole, there's not a ton going on outside of the full moon and the new moon that I want to highlight. So we'll talk first about the full moon. That is happening on Sunday, March 28th. That's going to be occurring at about 8 degrees of Libra. So check your personal astrology chart to figure out where 8 degrees of Libra is. I can also help you with that. You can always DM me on Instagram or shoot me an email. I'll mention that stuff at the end of the video. But it's going to peak also kind of in the middle of the afternoon on Sunday, March 28th. So full moon in Libra is definitely a time to celebrate relationships of all different kinds in your life. Full moon in Libra is also a good time to make peace with relationships that are coming to an end. Sometimes full moons do represent endings or culminations, as we've talked about before. So, are there relationships that are drawing to a close in your life? And if so, how can you end those in a loving way, in a harmonious way? This full moon is over here in Libra, but at the same time, Venus and Chiron and the sun are going to be directly opposite that moon over here in Aries. So when we have a moon opposite Chiron and Venus, I definitely think there's going to be an opportunity here to work with some healing and release of wounding that we might be carrying, specifically around relationship. The nice thing, though, is that the moon gets a beneficial trine from the planet Saturn. So I feel like Saturn will kind of steady us a little bit. It'll give us the stability and the emotional maturity to deal with any, relationship, emotional, or wounding issues in a positive way. And then additionally, if things are kind of humming along in your life right now, this full moon for you could just be about, as I said, celebrating the relationships that you do have in your life and what they bring to you. It could also be about full moon opposite Venus could be a little bit self-indulgent, could be a little bit lavish. So maybe this weekend you're going to be treating yourself to a nice dinner or a bottle of wine or, maybe going out somewhere. Anything along those lines is possible. So full moon, March 28th, 8 degrees of Libra. Make note of that and check it out in your personal astrology chart. Then, as we get into April, a little bit further into Aries season, we're going to hit the new moon. The new moon is going to be on April 11th, and that's going to occur at 22 degrees of Aries. And again, it's going to be important to see where this falls in your personal astrology chart, because that will give you extra information about how you should set intentions related to this new moon. So what's exciting about this new moon to me is that, the spring equinox, which is the beginning of Aries season, is also the beginning of the astrological calendar year. So January 1 is not the beginning, but March 19th, 20th, 21st, whenever the spring equinox falls, is the beginning of the astrological year. And so this new moon in Aries is, even though it's a couple weeks after the spring equinox, this is like really pumping up the feeling of initiation, starting, newness, intentions, all those things. At this new moon, we have 4 planets that are going to be in the sign of Aries, the sun and the moon, and I believe also Mercury and Venus will be in Aries at that time as well. So we definitely are like supercharged on this Aries energy at the new moon. I feel like this new moon is going to have a lot of like energy and zeal and impetus behind it. So whatever intentions you want to set for the next 12 months, so from, this spring equinox of 2021 until spring comes around again in 2022, think of that 12-month period and what are the things that you intend? What are the things you hope for? What do you desire? Those are all good things to be aware of at that time. In addition, because this new moon has so much Aries energy, I think give yourself permission to be very self-oriented on that day or around that day, April 11th. Really sit and think about who you are, the direction you want to move in life. What are your goals? What do you want? All of that is great to focus on at the new moon. Additionally, the new moon has a really nice aspect from Mars, which is in Gemini at that time. So it's kind of like once you decide, this is what I intend, this is what I want, this is the direction I want to move in, then Mars in Gemini is going to help out by, giving you opportunities to gather the necessary information you need to make those intentions a reality, to help you connect with the right people or find yourself in the right conversations to support your intentions and help you to achieve them. So that'll be a really nice balance between the new moon and that Mars in Gemini. However, the one caveat with this new moon is that it's getting if this is the new moon over here, it's getting a square from Pluto in Capricorn. And Pluto in Capricorn squaring the new moon can make our emotions, it can make us feel uncomfortable. Pluto is a very intense, powerful, transformative energy, and sometimes we're not always totally comfortable with that type of energy. So, I could see this playing out in a couple different ways. One of which might be as you focus on your intentions and the seeds you want to plant, you might feel uncomfortable because you realize that in order to make those intentions a reality, you're going to have to change. You're going to have to transform yourself or parts of your life in some way, and that can be a little scary and overwhelming. So maybe it plays out like that. It might play out in the sense that, places in our psyche where we hold anger, where we feel wounded, those feelings and memories might come up for you around this new moon time. It also could be this idea that, you're setting these intentions for yourself, but Pluto and Capricorn, maybe you feel like there's a powerful external structure that is preventing your intentions from coming true, whether that be a societal construct, a corporation, an authority, any of those types of things. Maybe you feel like, I'm trying to move forward, but they're just, that energy is coming up to block me. So that might be something that you have to navigate at the new moon as well. But just remembering with this new moon, it's not the time to be angry or rash or impulsive, but rather call upon this Aries energy of courage, of passion, of energy, and allow that to be the energy that you put into the intentions that you set around that day. So as a recap there, new moon is April 11th, falling at about 22 degrees of the sign of Aries, in case you want to check that out in your chart. So thank you guys so much for being with me through this talk. If you have any questions, DM me on Instagram. My handle is @the_astro_yogi, or you can always reach out to me, Kelsey, at theastroyogi.com via email as well. Thanks for watching and have a great Aries season.